edition of VetsPlusSport.com. We have a special guest with us today, Judah Price. Like we mentioned, hoping we'd get him on here today, and we have him here. And to me, I'm excited to have him here to talk with him, to get local listeners, even around here, that's kids that's maybe listening to high school and stuff. Some encouragement from Judah. Judah, he grew up around here, and like I was trying to tell him, like now a lot of our listeners are from out of the state and other areas, but we'll just get into a little bit here in southern West Virginia, and we've mentioned in our previous episodes for southern West Virginia, it doesn't produce a lot of talent, D1 talent, but you get some of it coming here and there, and Judah Price is one of that right now. It's come from here just south of Beckley, West Virginia, out of Sophia. But we'll get into this, and for the listeners that don't know, Judah Price broke a lot of high school records here in the state of West Virginia in high school. But we'll get started and have him describe what his journey was up to high school right now. Did you have any criticism, as you was growing up did anybody say you was too small or anything like that, or did you hear that a lot?
Yeah, it was just a lot of the kids saying, well, you didn't hear a lot from parents when you're growing up before high school, but a lot of it was just
from the kids.
Yeah, it's just kids around me, kids on other teams saying I was too small to do this, too small to do that, and I can't be as great as I want to be just because I'm too small, I guess.
Was that a big motivator for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'd have to push myself twice as hard just to get to that level of some of the other kids, just to be competitive with them. So that gave me more than enough motivation to be where I am today.
Well, and it's like I was talking with my wife. I told her, I said, which I played high school football. I'm 5'9". I was a slot. Had good hands, but I didn't have the speed. And as a receiver, if you don't have that height, you can counteract that if you got the speed. Well, I didn't have the height for the speed. So I mean, you've got the speed, and I was telling Cool Beans, like when I was watching the championship, your high school championship game, it's just like your IQ of the field of view when you're running the ball. Mm-hmm. I've seen it when the camera on show and replay and stuff. Your eyes is always moving, looking for your next cut, your next move. Where a lot of kids, they hit the hole, they're just running straight ahead. Yeah. But I was amazed when they zoomed in on a replay on your high school championship. I could see your eyes moving.
Oh yeah, I'm always scanning.
You was always scanning. Your eyes are scanning to make that next cut. Mm-hmm. And for some of y'all that haven't seen him, you can look it up on YouTube. Judah Price. Independence High School, you can see some of his highlights. And I mean, his cut speed too. I mean, when you go to make a cut, you don't lose your speed. Your speed's still there.
Yeah.
You make that cut and you don't lose a step. And I was impressed. Me and you I was talking earlier. First time I seen you was your junior year in high school. And when I seen you go around that end and the speed you had, I said, this kid's special. And I told my wife that. I said he's special. He's got that speed and everything else. And then I started following you, watching you, even through your junior year and your high school year. And I told my wife, I said he can go to the next level. But we'll mention some, like I said, you broke some high school records in West Virginia, and our high schools have 10 games regular season, and then the playoffs start, which is usually 4 games. If you win all the way to the championship, you play 4 games. But you broke all these records, and which is amazing to me. I'll let you start mentioning some of these records because I don't know them all. So I just know you broke them. But you broke these with not even playing full games during the regular season, just like 2 or 3 quarters or however you played.
Yeah. There were 5 total, but two were in the state championship game. Mm-hmm. One was total yards. I think it was like 376, and then the second one was that big run.
That 95-yard touchdown.
Yeah, it was the longest run. And then the 3 I'm not sure the whole three, but one was a regular season scoring record. I think it was I think it was 270 something. And then I got 300 that final Wyoming East game.
Yeah.
For the regular season, and then all time that was that 100-year-old record, which I broke that one in the North Marion game.
Yeah, and that was what I thought was amazing, and I think I seen one of your interviews. You said you didn't know if you was going to break that coming into the playoffs.
Yeah, I had no clue. I didn't expect that at all, because I mean, just playoffs, you just want to win. You're not trying to prove anything or anything. You just prove that you want to win. So I didn't really expect to get that many points in the playoffs, but
you know, for those that are listening, the year before they Independence won their championship his senior year, the state championship. The year before they made it his junior year and they was runners up. So you kind of had that chip on your shoulder coming into that season and going in that playoffs to get back there, didn't you?
Oh yeah, because everybody. I mean, we only lost a handful of guys, probably like 6 or 7 guys that year, and like you just feeling that and feeling how the community felt after we lost that game was just heartbreaking, and you can't match the level of intensity that we took into the championship game with anybody. I feel like we were the most prepared team probably I've been around since.
I would say, like I mentioned to you before we got on here, look, your senior year, all three phases is like, if you're a coach, that's what you want in a team. Usually you get 2 out of the 3 phases where you want, but to have all 3 phases, special teams, defense, and offense, you had the speed, you had the strength on all 3 phases, and y'all were tough. I mean,
oh yeah,
and y'all being a AA school, I think y'all could have beat a lot of the AAA schools that year.
I think the same. A lot of people won't say that, but
because I mean, y'all's line. What was y'all's line's average weight? Did you remember?
Over 250.
It was over 250, and you talking about guys at 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, we had 6'5". Going from left to right, we had 6'5", 6'3". I think 6'2". Grimmett was a little bit shorter. I think he's about 6 foot, and then about 6'2" as well in the right tackle.
So they had a big line.
Braxton was about 6'1", 6'2".
And the thing was with these guys is they were fast too for their size. I mean, they had the speed and everything else. And the thing is, and you got a nickname from your it came from your lineman.
Yeah.
And can you explain how that came about?
Yeah, it was just sort of like a little pre-season thing. I was trying to get some records, and I had seen, or not like records, I was just trying to get a lot of yards.
Yeah.
Match what Atticus did, but I saw a bunch of clips of like college running backs and NFL running backs giving their lineman stuff after they had a good game or a good season or something like that. So I wanted to do a little downgraded version since I didn't have the money that they have. So
of course,
I bought a box or 2 of donuts every time I got 200 yards in a game, which I didn't get 200 yards every game, but it was close enough, and they did their job every time, so I got donuts for every game.
You would have had that 200 yards you played off 4 quarters.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, in reality, it's still rewarding.
They did what they were supposed to.
That's right. That's right. And the thing is, a lot of times linemen don't get the credit.
They don't.
I mean, they don't get that block. You don't get that yardage.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of times they don't get the credit to deserve, but to see that and then that donut man stuck. That was what stuck with you.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned Atticus. Well, a lot of people don't realize you got the award for the state for the best player, correct? And Atticus had it the year before.
Yep.
So to repeat that,
that's only been done. Nobody's ever done it like how we did it. People have done it with the same athlete winning it, in the same school.
Yeah.
But nobody's ever done it with
different players.
Yeah, this year after.
Now, did you ever think like, well, I'll have a shot at that going into your senior season?
With the season he had and the ability I had, I feel like I knew I had a shot, but it just kind of depended on the team and how I really played, to be honest. And I thought I exceeded my expectations, and I had no idea that I was going to break any sort of state records or anything like that. But Yeah, it was surreal just doing all that.
And we talk about your speed and everything, but what people if they ain't watched you play, and I seen during the playoffs, it don't matter how big the guy is, you'll put your shoulder down and
Oh yeah,
you'll
I
go.
do that now.
Yeah, I mean, you put your shoulder down, even though you got the speed to juke and jive and get around them, you'll put it down and still. I've seen you plow right into them, bounce right off of them, and go. And that's what I mean, when you was in high school, hearing your work ethic and how you grind in the weight room and stuff, and that's what it takes. Get in the weight room, grinding, and taking the fuel from the fire from other kids. Like you said, well, he's too short or whatever like that, where he's not big enough to go. And the first time when I heard talk too, well, he's short. Well, what about Noel Devine?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of these other guys. You just got to have the determination and the heart.
That's it. And I kept looking it up because whether you know or not, when they say, well, he's too short, I'm like, no, he's not. Now I started rattling off names. Noel Devine. I think Barry Sanders was like only 5'10", 5'9".
No.
So, and Noel Devine, Steve Slayton, and stuff like that. I mean, you go start looking them up, and I didn't know this. Cool Beans, he's a Dallas fan. He said that Emmitt Smith was only 5'8", 5'9". So, it's all about the heart and determination.
Oh yeah.
The drive, And
if you got just something behind what you want to do, and you have the will to speak it, you can make it happen.
And and there's a thing, I think you was a little boy when Steve Slayton and Pat White was up at WVU. But I remember when they came on the scene, and Steve Slayton, if I'm not mistaken, was at Maryland. I think it was before there. He was somewhere else because he was like second or third. Gonna be second or third on the roster. Well, I think it was Maryland because they got rid of him or he left, and then he was running every time they played Maryland. He's running all these yards, and the Maryland coach said, "I can't wait till he leaves," because they had him on the roster, but they overlooked him somehow, and I'm like, how could you overlook this? I mean,
yeah, sometimes it's different. Like sometimes people don't fit well with. That's like you see it a lot at the college level. Some people just don't fit well with certain schemes.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get into another scheme that you don't fit in well with because emotion wise, physical wise, it's just hard, and having to adjust to certain plays and certain schemes, it's different.
Well, me and Cool Beans have mentioned that in some of our episodes. You see NFL players will leave, and one, I can't remember if it was Welker or Elderman for Patriots. One of them left, didn't do no good. I mean, whatever, I can't remember what team it was, but then comes back to the Patriots with Brady. It's like he didn't miss a beat. It's all, and we mentioned that about schemes and stuff, and the offense and everything else, and how it jives and stuff. And that's what a lot of it is.
Yeah, and it's just chemistry plays into it as well with your teammates. It's if you have chemistry with your teammates, you're going to thrive, and that's a big thing in my opinion. Just because, like, if the people around you trust you, you're going to trust them, and it mixes well together. That's why I think we did so well my senior year, was just because me and those kids that I won that championship with have played with each other since we were 6, 7 years old. So we've gained that trust ever since we were little.
Let's see, and that's like Independence High School. They've got a program. Coach Lilly down there and Grog and all them that's helping out. It's like I told my wife, even if you look at the surrounding schools around, what makes Independence different, everybody's bought in. The kids, the parents are bought in. And I guess during y'all's off season, during the summer, y'all probably had like almost 100% participation with everybody. Pretty much.
Yeah, we had 95 plus percent.
And see, the other areas don't have that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I went to Liberty and everything else. High school, even my senior year, there was only me and we only had 6 seniors. It was me and one other senior. We only had like 8 or 10 in the weight room during the summer. So when you get that 95% or even pass, if you can get 85%, you're doing good. But when you get past that 90%, you got everybody bought in, everybody with the same goal.
Everybody wants to win.
Everybody wants to win.
They just want to get. They want to get better, and they want the team to get better. So it works all well together.
It does.
That's a big factor of just anything. Like I wish, like West Virginia's really behind in sports in general, just because of off season stuff like that. Like just with football, like a lot of these schools in other states, like they're competing in the spring all the way on to the summer. They're doing it 7-on-7s and
Yeah.
flex days and practices and stuff like that. And West Virginia's coming around to it, but this just so behind in a lot of the things. Like it's not like some of the kids in the state can't compete with the kids at the Division I, Division II, or Division III level out of other schools and other states, but they see that competition level so much more growing up,
They do, yes.
and
Yeah.
it's just it flows more naturally to them when they get to that level because like, hey, I've seen this before,
Mm-hmm.
and I know how to do this. But it's just with me, it was just a little bit of an adjuster because everybody is just as good, if not better than you at that level. So you have to work in a different sort of work ethic to match that and proceed to pass that. So
Okay. And the thing is, you got to, like, going back with that program, I mean, the surrounding schools, high schools around here, they don't have that program like Independence guys with the football. Now, you got Shady with basketball, they got a good program going on. But if you get everything brought in, and two, we don't, like you mentioned, we just don't have a lot of the resources here that these other states do. And also, when I was growing up, I mean, I seen some good talent, but then we went outside the state to play, and then it's just like
it's a
total
world
different.
difference because I mean you have guys on those teams. You got you might have 4 or 5 guys on your team that are pretty quick and might have one really fast guy. And you go to these other schools out of the state, they got about 5 really fast guys and a whole defense of quick guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a different game because we don't have to adjust as much to that level of play. Like if we had to play somebody like that in high school, we would have game planned differently and trained a little bit harder for that, and quite honestly been on that level. But it's just you just don't see it as often because I mean even in high school I didn't have to try as much or as hard as I do now.
Yeah,
it's like no disrespect to anybody I played, but there wasn't the competition level that there is now.
No,
So
there wasn't. I mean, you didn't have like we was talking before we came on the air here. I mean, with with your speed, you didn't hardly have that in Southern West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I think at last year at the AAA level with Princeton, that receiver, I can't think of his name. He's going to WU.
Yeah, Dom Collins.
Yes,
he's up there right now.
He's up there, and I think what was his speed? He was probably around 4.4, 4.3. Maybe?
Yeah, I don't know. He ran the 100-meter dash, and I think it was 10.9 maybe 11 seconds. I can't remember the exact time, but he's pretty fast.
He's fast, and
It's
you
like
don't get that speed. Yeah, you don't get that around here in this state in the southern part. So when you get that speed, only way you can combat speed is with speed.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's why he won the awards that he did. He won the Player of the Year as well.
He did, yeah.
Just because I mean he was just faster than everybody he played.
And when you get to that college level, there's more than that. You've got several.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. So it's like Jaheim White up there right now. He runs. He's fast.
Mm-hmm.
You see all this even in the college level. So how's the college level? Is it met your expectation? Is it what you thought it was going to be? Or
yeah, it was a little more than my expectation. I mean, I didn't expect everyone to be fast. I mean, I knew people were going to be fast, but everybody's fast. You don't get one guy in there that's tremendously slow. So, and we work speed all the time. So everybody's getting faster.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest difference for me was just the speed of the game, how quick everything came about, and that's the level of high school to college to the NFL there's huge steps to get to each one, and it's honestly just the speed of the game, how quickly, like from a running back perspective, the way the hole opens and how it closes so quickly in college, it's twice as fast in the NFL.
So as soon as it opens up, you got to hit that hole right then. So it's not like in high school you could have wait for that hole to open up or something like that.
Like there's ways you can manipulate, like we manipulate where we are, and then there's ways you can manipulate linemen and linebackers to do certain things, but there are certain ways to wait for the hole to open up if you see that it's going to happen, because we do it so much we know and see when or where that hole is going to open up. So high school was different. It was just more of a power or like a pitch play and see what you can get, honestly. And then me being the player I was and having the vision I have, it's more of what I could do with what my linemen did. They did their job and made a hole more than 90% of the time.
You know, you talk about the speed of the game going from high school to college, and you hear about college players going into NFL having to adjust to that speed in the NFL. It's even quicker, they say.
Because, I mean, you have your guys that are, like the linemen in the NFL, like, those guys are fast. Like,
oh, yeah.
The D linemen especially. I mean, you got those guys running side to side as quick. Like, there's a guy from Penn State that just got drafted in the first round. He ran I think a 4.49 40-yard dash, and that's unheard of most times. So I mean, there's just huge differences in the speed of the game on both levels.
Well, that's like when I was growing up in Cool Beans. Dallas Cowboys had a lineman. I think it was Larry Allen.
Yeah, he's the one
Larry
just
Allen.
passed, yeah.
That dude was a monster.
He ran I think a 4.540 maybe,
Yeah.
maybe 4.4. I don't
he
know.
Was 300 some pounds.
And 300 some pounds. I watched him on it was maybe an interception, run a guy down, and he thought he had a touchdown, and it was just like, where did he come from?
Yeah, it's just some dudes like that. There's just freaking natures. It's like,
yeah,
you don't see people like that often.
No, you don't. And then you think if you talk about the NFL level, you know, talking about linebackers, look at like Ray Lewis. I mean, as big as he was and as fast as he was, I mean, he could cover ground quick to be as big as he was, and it's the speed adjustment, you know.
Which I think a linebacker I looked at a lot is Luke Kuechly. He was
too. He's another one.
He was a monster, and he was so fast and knew everything. And that's the thing too. I mean, you got to be super smart to be competitive.
You do.
To
I
play
mean,
at the college or NFL level. I mean,
now you know, going back to high school around here, I don't know as far as with you all, that was y'all's independence, but you know, when I was growing up, we watched game film, but it was just we had one day, that was it, and we watched it for 2 hours for the next team. Did y'all have more in depth, like watching game films for your opponents going in high school?
Yeah, we had they call it Huddle now for high school,
Mm-hmm.
and then we have it on our phones. I mean, you can get it on your computer, anything, just watch it whenever.
Yeah.
And I mean, you'd have guys. Most of the starters, Coach Lil usually tried to have us get a certain amount of hours per week on the certain team we were playing.
Yeah.
And I mean, most of the time you're just watching what you need to be watching, and that's a big part with high schools. Like a lot of people just don't know how to watch film because you just want to see what's going on and see the play, but
they
you
don't look at the formations and
you
stuff
don't
they're
see
running.
your assignment and
Yeah.
what you're preparing for. So I would watch a little bit of the opponent's defense just to understand how their linebackers moved, where the safeties filled in, what certain linebackers did on certain downs and stuff like that. And then I would watch a lot of their offense because I played defense too. So that was a big thing for me, just trying to understand certain formations, what they ran at a certain formations.
And certain downs and stuff like that, second down, third down, they run this.
I mean, I'd probably get around 2 hours a day of film, other than Fridays, of course. So we would watch a little bit of stuff that maybe we hadn't seen before that the coaches got up for us, but we would watch film with the coaches probably once or twice a week. But any other time we'd watch it by ourselves.
Now in
or
college,
like
go ahead.
Teammates.
Okay. In college, that more in depth now, watching game film during the week. Or
Oh yeah, we watch film
every day.
Every day.
Every day. And see, and no, getting with high school around here, a lot of I don't know if the other schools is in more in depth watching game film or not, but I mean that's a big part of winning when you're playing. If you're playing in high school on Friday night or on Saturday on college, is watching that game film, knowing your assignment, knowing what the other team's doing and stuff. So is it just more intense in college with the game prep and stuff?
Yeah, because I mean, there's so many formations and schemes that we have, and we don't use every one of them every game. So you got certain stuff you're gonna run, and where I don't have to watch the other team's offensive film, it makes it easier for me. But I mean, the way that we watch film, it's just repetitive, making sure we know what we're doing, and then getting the assignment that we're doing. It's more of just repetition, honestly. That's a big thing with just sports in general is repetition.
Now, I went years ago when I graduated high school. I went to one semester at Concord, and I roomed with a lineman that played football. And that's when I realized, a lot of kids. It's like when my daughter, she's talking about maybe playing college softball, and I told her, I said, a lot of kids don't realize once you get to college, that's a full-time job.
Oh, it's a business.
It's a full-time job. I said, that's what I told my daughter, and she's like, well, I'm thinking about that. I said, listen, it's not like high school. I said, you got meetings all throughout the week. I said, summer, everything. I mean, it's nonstop.
That's it. This is my first week off of summers since the beginning of summer. So,
see, and that's what kids don't realize. It's in high school. It's like
you got it one time a day when you're in season for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
and now that when I was at then, which is probably the same today, that the linemen would have their meetings, and then they'd have an offensive meeting. And then you got your defensive meetings, and you got your special teams. That's what they don't. I mean, it's constantly different meetings and stuff like that.
We start off our stuff. We team meetings, special teams, position, unit meetings, and then we'll watch film in all of those. And then you got to go through your walkthroughs, and then you get to practice, and then you got stuff after practice.
And see, that's like I always said before. They got the deal that came in and stuff where they started paying players. Years ago, people say, well, they get their academics paid for. I said, well, not all of them. You get some of them get the scholarships and stuff like that. I said, but what people ain't realizing, this is a full-time job for them. They don't have time to go pick up an extra job to work if you're playing sports and trying to keep your academics up. There is no extra time.
To do that, you have to be a special kind of individual to have a full-time job and really have another full-time job with football, and then on top of that, trying to do school. And especially, it just depends on your major. Like some of the majors up there, you have to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
So it's hard to have a job while you're.
Yeah. So when I was like, they needed to do something, which to me, I still think they need to probably do a little adjustment. Flat rate across for all the players, because you don't have.
Yeah, and it's where it's so new. It's going to eventually expand to that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I think that almost every athlete that steps on to a campus or something like that will get paid eventually, just because there's just not enough money or people bought into NIL, because a lot of people really don't know what it is or how it works. So eventually I think it will get to that point to where everyone gets paid.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Can you explain how that NIL works so people know that people that don't know about it and how it works? And
well, the acronym for it is NIL. It's name, image, likeness, and it's how you project yourself to the public and what you do for just really the public, really. And it's just having deals with certain people. Like I'm working stuff up around certain things around the this part of the state. For like last year, I was on a billboard, and you got to go through certain things, and it's nothing too crazy, but just people haven't really bought in or really understand how it works, because it's not like a donation or like I don't know, like sort of like a toss out of money. And you're representing your school, you're representing that company, and you're representing yourself, and you want to represent yourself to the best of your ability. And you don't want to have it's honestly better for the students, because you don't have people getting in trouble all the time. You want to keep your name, image, and likeness up high, so that you get more brands, more deals, and moving forward with yourself. And it's a long process, but it's getting to the point where it needs to be.
Now, didn't they just pass something now that the school can actually pay the players now?
Yeah, and our the Country Roads Trust plays a big factor in that. There's a lot of athletes on that, so the school can dish out as much money as it desires. That's why some of these schools, they have so much money in their pot of school money, they can just do whatever with it. Like they've got all the facility upgrades they need, and then they can just say, hey, let's put however much money into this fund that we have for the athletes and see where it takes us.
That's good, because like I said, I said for years, the athletes need to get some type of money because I mean you're trying to go to school and trying to do that, and it's good to see.
Which there's certain times it's insane how much money. Like some of these guys that are like super high recruits are making like $3-4 million, and that's, I mean, props to them, but that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, you know.
To
I
be
will
at the college level.
get mention that here in a minute, you know. And I seen where they said like the average, I guess 5-star, just the average maybe 5-star, 4-star lineman is costing schools like $500,000.
I mean, that's a big recruiter now. It's just how much money you're going to get.
That's it, and then you know you get these smaller schools that don't have that money, so it's going to be hard for them to pull those players if they're looking to go. Well, I'm going to go where the money's at. I want to, you know, and but it's changed stuff, and with that, and but like I said, I'm glad it's seeing it to go that way, and you know. We've talked about it. You know, you see these players. I mean, getting $2 and $3 million, and they're not even stepped foot on the NFL yet, and stuff. So
that's brand new. Like it's hard for people to take in, but I mean, it's hard to.
My question to you, since you play college football, do you think it may take away from the desire to move for those to move on to play the NFL because they're already looking at the money they got now?
For certain guys, yeah. I mean, you can see it. It's like if they don't have a great chance where they're at right now to make it to the NFL, it's like, let me see what I can make now, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to get as much as they can.
Which I mean,
college.
Me thinking, you don't blame them there, you know, because
I
mean, if you're not going to make it to the next level, that's the most money you're going to make, unless you go to be a doctor or something like that and get your own business or something. But you know, because me and him, it's just like a 19-year-old or 18-year-old having $2 or $3, $4 million. I couldn't fathom that. You know, I couldn't even fathom it now if I had it. So you know, to see that, and you know, looking on, you know, me and him, we've talked about it on the other episodes and stuff, and I just can't, you know, with the NFL, you see these young players, 23 and 24 years old. It's like, I don't know if it's because of the money, but they get in trouble all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like,
just certain areas they're around too, and it's like certain ways people grow up, and then you get out of that in college. I mean, you can have a kid that was just in a bad environment growing up. They get out of it in college, and then once you get back to the NFL, you got all that money you're all around it, and it's just easy to fall back into.
Well, that's like when me being a Chiefs fan with Rice, the receiver there.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was like, and the thing is, I'm like, dude, what are you thinking? And then he gets in trouble a couple weeks after that, and it's just like, man, you're getting ready to blow your whole career. And then you made it, and it's not just with him. You see it all the time.
So you see athletes sometimes at these big schools getting DUIs all the time.
All the time.
And it's just, I mean, there's nothing wrong with calling a Uber for
no, it ain't.
$15-20 when you have a car that's $60,000 to $80,000.
That's like with Rasheed Rice there. I was telling him, I said, why couldn't they go on a back road somewhere if they want to race?
Yeah,
I mean, why a 5-lane highway or 4-lane, whatever it was, in the middle of heavy traffic? I'm like, I can see it. I mean, you're young, you're going to do stuff. I mean, me and Cool Beans has done stupid stuff when we was young. I mean, you're young, you do it, but get on a back road somewhere.
Yeah, I mean. And there's these two guys at Georgia that, and one I think somebody got killed.
Yeah, it was Jalen Carter.
Yeah, and
he's
then
with the Eagles
racing,
now.
They were racing on like a 2-lane street downtown in Atlanta.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
cameras everywhere, people everywhere.
It just don't make no sense. I mean, I don't know if I don't know if it's the money it gets to them, or just like. Or what, man? I mean, it's like they start losing their thinking. Like, all right, or I don't know. I don't get it.
I mean, that happens with a lot of people. You just get a lot of money, you don't know what to do, so you just start just spending it, seeing what you can get, seeing what happens, and.
So, how's this season? You think looking for WVU and everything?
I think it's looking really good. I mean, we're coming together as a team, and we're getting to the point of a player-led team, and that's the great teams when you can lead when your players can run a practice almost. I mean,
Yeah.
we're to the point where we have a lot of trust in each other. We got a lot of pieces that came in the transfer portal that are going to fit really well with us. Our defensive back group is looking a lot better than it was last year. So I think we're going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm excited for this season to start. Being as a fan, because y'all returning everybody on offense.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
got a lot of production.
a lot of production coming back, and that's why I don't understand. You see it, which is the news media. They gotta do what they gotta do. But no respect at all. But which West Virginia performs good under that. Always have. Even when Pat White and Steve Slayton was there, they got no respect at all.
Just that underdog, blue collar
That is.
sort of
That's
mentality.
what it
That's
is.
how we're treating the season, honestly.
But I'm excited to see how everything goes and unfolds and stuff, and which I've got tickets to be there to watch some of them games. So it's exciting to see that. Now, as for you, I mean, you're at the college level now. To say, I mean, have you ever thought like trying to go on to the next level, the NFL, or?
Yeah, that's my end goal is to reach that level. I mean, that's your dream as a kid, and
Yeah.
when you work your way up and you can see your opportunities to get at these certain places and be like, hey, maybe I got a shot. So that is my number one goal at the end of every day.
Growing up here in Southern West Virginia, and I was the same way as a little boy growing up. I always wanted to play for WVU, and I think that's what I've heard you talk about. That you wanted to play for WVU, and now you're there. And it's kind of like a dream.
Oh yeah, I mean,
suit up
and the time that I get my goals is going to be even sweeter. And it's the bittersweet is right now. It's
paying your dues.
Yeah, and you just if you can weather the storm, you'll pull through. And right now, I think I'm weathering that storm. So I'm gonna eventually reach the point where I want to reach.
Yeah, I can't wait till they put you on the field because I know to me, it's like I told my wife. I said the sky's the limits for you. I think because you're talented. You're a talented football player, and I just can't wait till you get on the field, and hopefully I'll be at the game when they do put you on the field, and I get to see you in person and stuff. But
Awesome.
I think it's sky's the limits for you. As far as the bar, you just. And I think, and I've told, Cool Beans can vouch for this. I told him, I said he could play for any D1 school in the country. That's just my opinion. I've seen what you can do. I said you can put him behind an Alabama line. You can put him behind anybody, and I said he's gonna put up some yardage. But that's just, I mean, I seen you play and everything else, and no, like some outsiders may look, well, at the height. I don't look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at, you probably talked about the IQ and stuff like that, your IQ of the field being everything, and I think you're there with that. So I think the sky's the limits for you is that, and I can't wait to see you when you get on the field.
I appreciate
that. And but I'm excited, like I said, and even if you go to that next level, I may have a new team then. He's probably hoping the Dallas Cowboys, but as far as sports,
why do you think I gave him all them Emmitt Smith comparisons?
There you go. But as far as like the NFL and stuff, we talk about all the time. Now we're right now in that kind of that off season, but you said you're a Detroit fan and stuff. Has that been your team growing up all since you've been a little boy, or?
No, I mean I've sort of liked teams, but I've never really established like a favorite team. I've always my great grandparents always every Thanksgiving the Lions. I swear that's the Lions.
It was every day, every Thanksgiving day.
Every Thanksgiving.
Them in Dallas.
Yeah, every Thanksgiving we were watching Detroit and.
Let's see. Have you watched highlights of Barry Sanders?
Oh yeah.
That dude was.
That's like I was growing up with this kid down the street that lived from me. His dad preached Barry Sanders to me.
To me, when I was watching him, and I even tell Cool Beans this too. To me, I think he was the best back ever in the NFL.
Skill wise,
Yes, because
technicality and just the way he would move and
he didn't have no
create
line.
plays.
I hate to bash the line, but he didn't have no line.
Yeah, I mean, you can just if you search up his highlights, you can see it in full form.
If he was running behind that Dallas line that Emmett was, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was special.
He was a special talent and everything. And
I think it was back in '91. They had Detroit and Dallas played that playoff game, and I swear I was mad as it looked like every defensive lineman jumped on him,
and he
came out from the hole, and he went all the way. I was like, "What the heck?"
You're talking about. When I was growing up, I was a 49er fan. You had Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, and then Steve Young and all them. And then once they traded, Joe Montana went to Kansas City after he left, which I still pulled for 49ers, but then I started liking Kansas City. And then here in the last about 6-7 years is when I've been becoming a real diehard Kansas City fan. But I've usually pulled for players that I like. I liked Peyton Manning. And when I was watching him, I thought he was a real smart quarterback. And just different players that I like. I'd pull for the team, but I still have my team I pull for.
Yeah, I feel the same way because I just like watching football.
I love it too. It don't matter who it is. I
mean, you got some guys on these teams that are just really, really likable. So
yeah.
I mean,
and I liked Ray Lewis. When with the Ravens, I liked him. And you talk about with Luke there at Carolina, and different players that like Christian McCaffrey. I like him.
Yeah. He's different guys stick out in certain ways, and you can respect their determination and their work ethic.
Yeah, you can. And
it's awesome.
But that was me growing up. Picking just watching. Now as a little boy, I was a diehard 49er fan. It was 49ers. That was it.
Yeah.
But older I got, and then watching college and stuff, and I just you just find those the players that have that certain characteristic that you like, and you pull for it and stuff like that. But here, I'll ask you this. Do you think the Chiefs can repeat for 3?
They've got every piece for it. I mean, they could use another receiver or two, but
they pulled in Hollywood Brown, and they got Xavier Worthy from Texas.
I think they'll be pretty good.
I think they can.
It's
it's hard to do because
it's never been done.
It's never been done. No, it's never been done, and you got to look too is injuries.
Yeah. I mean, you never know what's going to happen.
You never know what's going to happen.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes could go down, and then season's probably shot with him.
Yeah, well, that happened. He didn't. Well, he got.
Well, he got Wentz back there.
They got Wentz. I think that may be the reason they brought him in. Hey, in case something happens, he gets hurt, we'll bring in Wentz.
Yeah.
But he got hurt. It was about 4 years ago. He was running a quarterback sneak and got hurt. That's how he messed up that ankle the first time. And so now they're thinking they brought Wentz in to do quarterback sneak because they don't want to get him hurt. And Wentz, they asked Carson Wentz that question. He said, "Y'all forgetting one thing." He said, "Jason Kelsey was the main man of that quarterback sneak."
Which they got a pretty good center. What's his name? Creed Humphrey?
Yeah, Creed. Yeah, they do.
He's pretty good.
So, but I like watching football. Everything. I watch all the playoffs and everything I can.
Yeah, the playoffs are awesome.
And there was some. Oh, I know where I was at. The little boy it was his birthday when the Dolphins went to Kansas City for that cold game.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped the ticket prices to $50 a ticket. I told my wife, I said, "Man, I could have went to a playoff game." She said, "You're crazy." I said, "It's $50."
Yeah.
I've never been to a playoff game. Yeah, I'd have bumbled up.
Yeah.
But
I'd say their playoffs were crazy. That cold game, and then Buffalo had that huge snow.
Yes, and
they had the fans shoveling in the
I
stadium.
seen that. Yeah. What do you think how the Bills are going to do since it's like they've lost all their receivers.
Yeah, they're a hard team to gauge. I mean, because Josh Allen, he's special.
He is special. I mean, he's got the arm. He can run.
Oh yeah, he's a great quarterback. I like watching him a lot too.
Well, and there's another one I like too is Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Even though it's come to be a rival with the Chiefs, but I mean,
AFC's a tough place with all those guys, and you got the Ravens now with
the Ravens,
Lamar Jackson,
the
Derrick
Texans
Henry.
are coming along.
The Texans are looking good, and then
The a couple years, look out for the Chargers because you
I
got
think the Chargers
Harbaugh.
could be really, really good because just his scheme and how Justin Herbert throws the ball.
Oh, yeah.
he's super.
Well, I
good.
thought when Harbaugh went there, I'm like, crap, no. As a Chiefs fan, I'm like, and then they got rid of the Allen and they got rid of Eckler. I'm like, all right, it's not going to be this year. It'll probably be next year. They're going to have to start looking out for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I give Cool Beans being a Dallas fan a little grief. I said, you better watch them skins. Well, I'll say skins, but it's Commanders, because they loaded up this year.
Oh yeah, I mean they got Eckler, and then
They drafted.
Jaden Daniels is a super good quarterback.
He is.
He's super technical, and he can get out of the pocket really well.
And they took Dallas's defensive coach. They're their head coach now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they got 9 players in the draft. They had 9 picks, I think.
And then I think Brandon Ayuk's a free agent, and I mean, that's possibilities are endless. Well, I think he's going to be a free agent. I don't know if San Francisco's going to pay him or not.
It's still up. I ain't seen no media today to see where it's at. He's wanting to stay in San Francisco. He said he's not wanting to leave, but
They just don't want to pay him.
Yeah, I don't think they got the money to pay him.
Yeah, and I think he's one of the more sound receivers in the league, and he's I think his percentage of being open led the NFL.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, they got so many weapons. I mean, with Debo and you got Christian McCaffrey, and
I don't know why you wouldn't want him.
but yeah, and surely they can find some money somewhere.
Yeah.
But then you got the tight end Kittle. I mean, so there's a lot of money that's being paid out and everything else. But I think they'll be contending again. But them and the Lions, maybe the Lions will come up on top of them this year.
Yeah, we got the secondary was a big struggle with. So I mean, we got some good secondary guys coming in. So
Yeah, and the Chiefs are going to have a weak spot in the corner where they lost Reed.
yeah,
But to me, I told Beans, I was like, man, why didn't Mahomes come off some of that money to keep Reed?
yeah, it's about like what LeBron James tried to do.
Yeah, I've seen
He
that.
tried to take a pay cut.
He's taking a pay cut now to try to. I think he was hoping to bring Klay Thompson, which you've seen. He went to Dallas. So he's hoping to bring somebody in. Which, like I told him on our last episode, it's like, well, they drafted his boy. Now LeBron's like, well, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours now. Well, I'll take a pay cut. We'll get some players in. But it's there's a lot of moving going on right now at the NBA. Who's your team in the NBA?
I don't have a team.
You don't have a team?
No.
You watch any of it or?
Yeah, I watched the playoffs because I'm not huge into basketball because I wrestled growing up.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really a fan favorite of mine per se, but I like watching the playoffs.
Now you talking about wrestling. You was real good at that too. You had what in WU was you thinking about going up there to wrestle?
I thought about going up there to wrestle before my senior season because I took 2 wrestling visits up there during football season.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me. I wanted to wrestle because I mean in football, being as small as I am, you don't see a lot of guys at the level I am now, and it was almost like a far fetched dream. But at wrestling, it was it was just more opportunities, and I felt like I could compete at that level, but it ended up being where I am now.
And
I don't regret my decision at all, but
Independence, they had a boy from there wrestle, wasn't they?
Noah Adams.
Noah Adams.
He went up there and
He done very.
that was that COVID year, but he's still an All-American.
He done good up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
He won a Big 12 championship, and yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it was good to see. See local kids and everything else, and mention. I mean, going back. I mean, you broke some of the records and stuff. You broke. Mention Kurt Warner. He was from here. I don't think I've mentioned him on none of our episodes, but he was from Pineville and everything. And what it's shocking. I mean, you look at Kurt Warner and what he's done at Penn State and in the NFL. They said at WVU didn't even look at him.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only thing with WVU. It's not like because it's so much. It's not a lot of money for the tuition for the in-state guys. It's like I think it's less than a little bit under $10,000, but it's almost $30,000 for the out-of-state kids.
Wow,
So they're looking. That's a $20,000 difference. So I mean, you're looking at the out-of-state guys before the in-state guys, and then like I think it's more of like a trust thing because, like I said, the level of competition you just
yeah.
don't see it as much. So the trust thing is big with that.
See, I worked when I was in the coal mines. I worked with guys that blocked in high school for Kurt Warner and stuff, and they said Joe Paterno would come fly down in his helicopter to watch Kurt Warner in high school to play and stuff. And that's when they was telling me that W didn't really.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't understand like the way that, because I mean, there's a lot of kids in the state. I mean, you take Ryan Switzer for an example.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of kids in the state that kind of get overlooked. That's like the dude that just got drafted, I think last year. Darnell Wright, I think.
Yeah.
He's with the Bears now.
Yeah, yeah.
And he played at Huntington and went to Tennessee.
There's been a couple. Well, not since Neil Brown's been there, but it was before Neil Brown. I seen that there was a lineman, a five-star lineman, and he went to Clemson or somewhere. And Dana said, "Well, West Virginia just don't have the talent." And he went to Twitter and said, "You didn't recruit me. You didn't even look at me."
Yeah, it's like Doug Nestor. He didn't get recruited by Dana, and then that's why he went to Virginia Tech. And then when Coach Brown came in, he came back because
I mean, and I don't. I mean, yeah, I understand we don't have a lot of talent, but the talent we do have here, I don't get why they don't
Utilize
it. I mean,
there's a lot more athletes now than there has been in the past, and I don't know if that's where you have social media and there's publicity and all that, but.
Well, now you got camps they're going to throughout the summer, different places. Like where Independence, they're going. I seen one time not too long ago they was at Virginia Tech doing a camp, and they're all going places, and that's getting their name out too.
Yeah, I mean that's a big thing too, like publicity. Like I didn't get too much because I didn't really have any sort of stats or accolades until my senior year.
Yeah,
and that's, I mean, usually a lot of these colleges fill up their recruiting class for certain classes. They're
by their junior year or something. Yeah.
So I mean, you got guys signing their junior year like the middle of the way in their senior year. I signed to West Virginia probably at the end of April, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean,
so
we were just about to finish up school.
All right, well, you kind of answered my question there because I was wondering how come, because you wasn't getting a lot of looks, was because your stats was more towards your senior year.
Yeah, because I really just came out of nowhere, and then you can't gauge it off of just one year.
Yeah.
So I understand with that, but I still feel like I was overlooked.
Yeah, I think you was, and I told Beans you were. Even all right, halfway through your senior year, I mean, you start seeing stats from somebody. You think that would start catching eyes a little bit, like, hey, maybe we need to keep an eye on this person or something like that. But even at that, but yeah, I think the kids in West Virginia a lot of times do get overlooked. I don't know why it is.
Because I mean, they kind of treat it like a diamond in the rough, and
yeah,
they don't want to take the chance and be like, "Oh, this guy was good because he played at West Virginia."
Yeah,
or played in West Virginia, and then if he gets up there and he's not any good, they just wasted their time. But I mean, that's rarely been the case.
Yeah,
rarely. Because I mean, no matter who it is, you feel overlooked. Just anytime.
I've seen kids over the years, within the last 10 years, that was overlooked, and which I know. Which I mean, he wouldn't. I mean, he went to go play a little bit, but I mean, his main thing. I mean, he was going to go be a dentist. But I mean, he only look that he got was from Concord. And he was a quarterback at Liberty, and this has been about, it's been about 8 years ago. But his time there at Liberty, I mean, he halfway through his freshman year they put him in, but I mean, I think he threw in 3.5 years. He threw for like 8,000 yards, 60-some touchdowns, 60-70% accuracy, but there was no looks.
Yeah, it's weird. I haven't understood it.
I
mean,
still don't understand. And he went to camps, quarterback camps and stuff. So I don't. I mean, but like I said, him and his brother are both dentists, so I knew he was going to go be a dentist. But I mean, he could have. I mean, he was accurate. I mean, he had a strong arm. He was accurate. He's like 6'3", 6'4", so I think he could have played at the college level if if he wanted to.
Yeah, a lot of it is just getting seen it when you're young. It's like because I kind of physically matured later.
Yeah.
Probably like I started to really mature my junior year. So I mean, and I didn't really like. Usually these kids are being seen their freshman and sophomore years. And
Oh yeah, yeah, they are.
you get on people's radars and they're like, okay, let's see how they have it. Let's see their junior year, see how they do. And then if they have a good junior year, they usually get offered more than 90% of the time. But you have barely any circumstance where a kid's a senior, doesn't have any offers, and then get a bunch of offers out of it.
Oh yeah,
you barely see that.
Well, you cleared that up for, well, at least for me anyway, being where all your stats came late. Now I understand and see it now, because you always wonder, well, what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
How come this person ain't getting no looks and stuff like that? So now I can see
Which
kind of
like some of the guys just don't have, like some of the schools just don't have the spots to offer that scholarship.
yeah.
So it's just hard sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Which now it's a lot better with the NIL. Like you can say you got a kid like that, and you can get however much money from the NIL fund or the trust that you have to pay for their schools. I mean, it's basically like a scholarship, but
Okay.
you're just not on scholarship.
Yeah. All right. I guess we're getting close on our time there, but
We're getting close.
but
But I got a question to ask that you haven't asked yet. I was waiting.
go ahead.
I was like, I was wondering, like, what's your degree plan? Because, you know, like, it was like, don't get me wrong with what I'm saying. I'm just, like, want to say is pretty much you use the degree plan because that's what you go to school for.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, if you want to play ball, I can see you playing ball. You don't have to worry about the NFL because there's CFL, there's European League,
Australian
arena
League.
football.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure you can play ball. So if you wanted to play ball, then you can play ball.
Mm-hmm.
But what was you going to school for? What was your majoring in?
I'm a business market major.
Okay, that's good.
That's good. That's good to get into.
Yeah, because I'm in business administration. That's what my degree is. And then my second one is in film, but I'm almost about to graduate on that one. I don't have that one just yet.
But you know, it's I'm glad you got to come on because I've been excited about doing this and everything else. You know, because you know, talking to someone local who's playing college ball. Me and him never played college ball. We played high school ball and stuff. And talking to someone and getting to know them and how it is in the college level.
Yeah.
And hopefully it can be an encouragement to some of the local listeners. Hopefully.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just a big thing with a lot of people. They just don't think they can do it, and then if you feel in your heart that you can do it, and like I said, if you have the will to speak it, you can make it happen. That's like people say I had one of the biggest hearts they've seen play, and I take that to heart. I take pride in it. The fact that people say I have a lot of hearts, and that just shows the love I have for the sport and how I work to get to where I am today.
And you know, talking about that heart, and there's a saying that down at Independence y'all had, which I like it, being a coal miner, coal camp tough.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, you gotta be tough to work underground. I was underground 8 years, and you, like you said, you got that heart to keep driving and everything and keep working. Here's a question that came to me that, like, I know I can speak for myself on this. You know, I played football and baseball growing up. Started out with baseball, my main sport, and I always had ambitions of going playing college baseball and going pro in baseball. But where I played all summer long and everything, I kind of got burned out.
Mm-hmm.
At any time in high school, was you getting burned out with?
I don't think so. No, just with the way we did things and how much fun it was. In my opinion, I don't think I ever burned out, to be honest. Because I mean, maybe if we would have worked as hard as we did and came up short, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I think it was just so much fun, and then just the support of just everybody, like our community, like after we won or after we even lost the state championship game. I mean, you had so many people at that game. It was so loud in that stadium, and then with the year we won, there was so much support. Like we had dinners, ceremonies, banquets, like left and right, and it was just like you had signs everywhere. Like we've never done it at Independence, and it hadn't been done in Raleigh County for
like 40, 50 years.
wow.
Yeah. Like
And it was
Woodrow's the last one, I think. That
yeah,
was a long
it
time
was
ago.
super surreal. Like it was honestly hard to take in that we had did it, but I mean I felt by the halfway through our season that we were going to do it. But
Well,
it just, you can't
I did
describe the
too.
feeling.
When I was watching y'all play, and I told my dad, because I talk to my dad a lot every day, and I told Dad, I said, because when y'all got to the playoffs, I started watching videos of the opponents y'all could be facing, and I told my dad, I said, they don't have the speed to counteract their speed.
Yeah.
I said that's what I was looking at. I mean, I may look at the game different than the normal fan watching, but I watched every little aspect, the speed and everything else, and like we mentioned before, to answer speed, you got to counteract it with speed. I mean, if you don't have that speed, I mean, that's like with you with what you run. If you're lined up in the backfield and they line you out wide, the linebacker's got to go out, depending on what defense they're running.
Mm-hmm.
The linebacker, that's like I told him. I said, there ain't too many linebackers gonna keep up with 4.4 40 speed,
No,
or 4.3 or 4.2.
There weren't many out there that were going to.
No, so, and that's why you see even in the NFL when you get your fast backs, when they send them backs out wide, there goes that linebacker, and you're like, oh, there he goes.
Yeah.
He gets. I mean,
Yeah. That's I thought we had the hardest road for the playoffs too. I mean the past however many years you've heard of Fairmont, Bluefield, and I mean even North Marion. Like those are top notch schools in AA, and you can see how well those programs are put together. Like Freddie Summon was there for a long time, and then you got a bunch of guys that came out of there that were really good. I mean that's like Sean Martin. He's up at West Virginia.
Yeah, he is.
He played there, and I believe he won a state championship at Bluefield not long ago.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, Fairmont, you got Zach Frazier, and he just got drafted to Pittsburgh. So
Fairmont, they put out some players for high school. I mean, you had the Steele brothers,
Mm-hmm.
which
I just remember them too.
Yeah, you had them, which I remember their dad playing in the '90s, but y'all lost to Fairmont senior year, junior year, correct? And then when y'all was playing them right before, it was the championship round, wasn't it?
It was we played them in the quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah.
And I was like, this could be their road test. That's what I was thinking myself.
We had lost to them twice before because we lost to them my sophomore year in the playoffs too.
Yeah.
So they were kind of like our kryptonite almost because that was the only team that had beat us. I mean, we beat Bluefield my junior year, and then senior year we beat Bluefield in the first round. And I thought that was our hardest game just because we had played them before, and we couldn't pass the ball.
Yeah.
So they had 8, 9 guys in the box, and we're trying to run the ball. And that's super hard to do when you can't pass.
It is. And
it was poor in that game.
Oh, it was.
I think I carried the ball like 42 times that game.
Yeah.
And I was 150 pounds. It's unheard of.
It was cold that game too, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cold. That was November. It was probably 40 degrees, raining or whatever it was there. It was actually been colder than that.
Yeah. And our defense pulled through, and
when y'all beat them, and then I seen Herbert Hoover, who they knock off.
they beat Winfield.
They were
They played Clay County first.
Mm-hmm.
Winfield was 1. We were 2.
2, yeah.
And then they played Clay County first, and then beat Winfield in the quarterfinal.
When they beat Winfield, I'm like, to me, I was watching.
I thought they were going to make it all the way, but I didn't know how good Winfield was because they had played Herbert Hoover before.
Yeah.
In the season, but they hadn't really played anybody else. I thought it was either going to be them or Frankfurt. Frankfurt was all right. They just had a way with. I don't know if they ended up. Yeah, they played Herbert Hoover in the semifinal, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think Herbert Hoover was like an 8 seed, wasn't they?
They were the 9 seed.
9 seed, and because they made it, and once y'all beat Fairmont Senior, I said, I think it's.
Oh, I knew we were going to.
It was easy. I was easy selling.
Because about everybody in the state said it was going to be us or Fairmont.
Yeah. And the way it's set up, y'all was playing them early. I'm like, well, there's your championship game right there.
Yeah.
And everything. But
which we treated that game like a championship game.
Oh,
we came in. They came into our place. I mean, we had to. You didn't want to lose at home, no matter what.
No.
I mean, our coaches had it. Like we seriously thought like we were going into like a battle. Like we thought of it as a fist fight.
Yeah.
Like one of the coaches all week said 100-round heavyweight fight. And we treated it like that.
You know, it was good. It was fun watching. You know, just like back in 2007 and 8 when Pat White and them were there watching him. That was exciting. It was exciting watching y'all there in high school at that level. I mean, it was just exciting to watch. It was fun. I was looking forward to it during the week. I'd probably even tell Cool Beans about it, and I was looking forward to watching that y'all play on Friday nights because it was exciting to watch. But we're getting like close on time. I'm glad you was able to come once again. Everything else, and we wish you luck for this year and the Mountaineers and everything else. But before I get off, like we always do with our veterans, if anybody's out there thinking about hurting themselves, suicide, or anything else, always call 988, the suicide hotline, to get some help, or always go to your local VA medical center. There's people there, it's on staff, they'll get you the help you need. But this is it for VetsPlusSport.com on this edition, and we thank Judah Price for
having me.
Coming on, joining us. We're glad you came, and we'll see y'all this Saturday at 9 o'clock live.